We'll go ahead and get started though. Thank you guys for joining us this afternoon. I love being able to give presentations to customers and let them see some insight into some new equipment, some new things that are out there. And today is no exception. This is actually really kind of neat. I get to bring in two printers to your focus today. So the title of this webinar presentation was Start Small but Dream Big. And these two new printers from Epson really allow us to do that. So today we're going to talk about the Epson F1070. And we're going to talk about the Epson V1070, two really amazing printers that Epson has released that we're super excited to be able to resell and get you guys familiar with and see it in your shops real soon. So with me today is Mike Moon from Epson. Mike, how you doing today? That's an amazing background you got going on. So, where's your printer at, Mike? I don't see it listed anywhere there.
It's across the countertop. I got a 1070, but yeah,
you have it in your office though, right?
Yeah.
So that is the cool thing about these two printers we're bringing to you guys today. Epson designed these so they could be in the home office. They can fit in a lot of different settings. The sleek new compact design of these Epson printers fit even in a beautiful virtual office setting like Mike has going on behind him there. So Mike, who are you? Introduce yourself to people.
Oh, thanks, Dale. I'm Mike Moon. I'm with Epson. I've been with Epson a little over 20 years now, so I'm starting to figure out my job, figure out the role. I definitely specialize in the technical side. Neil and I work together quite often. So my job is technical sales, so pre-sales and technical support, that sort of thing, and making things sing and dance. So it's a great opportunity to be with everybody here. So thank you.
Okay, awesome. Well, Mike, let's go ahead and launch into it. Let's start with the Epson F1070. So what is this machine? Where does it position itself in the market?
The product itself positions the market. It's an entry-level DTG printer. So it is it prints up to a 10 by 12 platen size. So it is designed for it's a smaller desktop unit, as we mentioned. It's really designed for that, I'll call it that Etsy market. People want to get into the DTG part of it. They're not producing hundreds of shirts a day, but they want to be able to bring it in-house, have that control, have that uniqueness, and be able to produce both DTG, so printing right onto garments, and also DTF, where you're printing onto a film transfer. And then
okay. I was gonna stop you right there, Mike. I'm one of those guys that as soon as I hear an acronym, I got to know what the understanding of it. So you said DTG, DTF. So direct to garment and
Correct.
direct to film. Those are the two pieces we're working on here.
Yep. Apologies.
Yep.
You talk a lot about it, and you kind of just assume everybody knows, but great.
Exactly. Yep.
Direct to garment printing, for the most part, printing on cotton or a cotton blend, if you think of it that way. So a T-shirt that's already sewn, the ink likes sticking to the cotton part of it. So that's why they call it direct to garment printing. Mm-hmm. Direct to film, some people just refer to DTF, but direct to film is same printer, except it prints onto a piece of film that is then iron transferred onto a shirt or whatever it would be, a baseball cap, something that's polyester based or cotton based.
Right. So at the end of the day, you want to be able to produce decorated apparel, but with this machine, you have the versatility of going kind of either direction, a direct to garment or a direct to film transfer. And typically that's based on your substrate. I can print, quote unquote, to polyesters. Everybody loves the dry fit polyester golf shirts, things like that. With a lot of experimentation, a little bit of pre-treating, it is possible to print to polyester. It's just challenging. Those inks don't want to stick to polyester fabrics. So that allows me to use that direct to film process for a polyester. But if I have somebody who wants the softest hand feel in a full image, they want a breathable shirt, cotton, albeit direct to garment is the better choice. Is that
absolutely? Yep. So that's what's kind of unique about this printer. It is that hybrid system printer, so we can do both with it. It's one machine. It's just a user preference. You tell the printer, you tell your software, I'm printing on a T-shirt, I'm printing on a film, and then it's just a matter of loading the appropriate substrate onto your printer. Here it is, garment and film transfer. So if you're looking at doing those T-shirts, you're looking at doing onesies, bibs, you're looking at tote bags. These are things that, if it's a fabric, chances are with one of the two technologies, you'll be able to print onto that. So a lot of different things. I mean, you can do one kind of nice thing about the DT film part of it is you can do very small logos and put a logo on the side of a shoe if you want. Just iron it onto the side of the shoe or print a full shirt. So there's just a lot of options. One machine does them both.
Well, and just a real quick broad overview of the workflow. So if I'm doing direct to garment, obviously I've chosen a garment that will accept this ink. I might have done some some test prints on it to make sure I'm getting the image quality that I want out of it. But once I go through the printer, I then take it to a heat press to set that ink. So the ink has to go through a pressure and heat stage where that ink, the water carrier's evaporated and it bonds itself to the fibers. The direct to film process, exact same machine, but I'm printing to a film sheet that's placed inside my machine, and then I take that printed film sheet out, I apply a TPU powder to the wet film, and then I take it to that same heat press and cure it. The time and heat, it cures it, no pressure involved there. But basically, I'm creating a sticker from a printed on film. And then at that point, I cut apart my film pieces, and then I heat press those onto my garment. So slightly different workflows for the direct-to-garment, direct-to-film. The big component there is your ink layering. If I'm printing on a black T-shirt, I need to put an underbase of white to put my color on top when I'm doing direct-to-garment. For direct-to-film, it's the exact opposite. You put your color down first, an underbase of white on top, or an overbase of white on top.
Absolutely. And there also will be, just for reference, there will be a little bit different hand or touch or feel, if you will. So if you put it on top of a shirt, one will feel a little, the direct-to-garment typically feels a little softer than the direct-to-film, but the direct-to-film gives you more versatility as far as what you actually put it onto. So do what works best for this certain application. I guess that's what's kind of cool about it being a hybrid. You're not locked into one. This only does shirts or this only does film.
A couple different options available here for different sleeve positionings. It comes with the 10-inch by 12-inch small platen, but if you wanted to do a lot of direct-to-garment sleeves, you need to be able to get a sleeve on there. So you have a small little 4x4, maybe a baby's onesies for the 7x8. A lot of options as far as accessories on there. Hey, Mike, can you stop your screen share for just a second? Folks always tune into these webinars because they want to be able to see the machine printing live. This thing prints pretty fast, so I didn't want people to miss that. I just laid down, I have a T-shirt inside here with a print going on here. It just laid down the entire underbase of white, and now the print head carriage is going back over that exact same underbase of white, but I thought this would be a good time to kind of give a view around the machine. So the T-shirt doesn't move when it goes from one layer to the other, but it's starting to lay down my my color layer on here. While we're doing that, let's give a quick little synopsis of what's happening here. So all of my functions for my machine happen from this nice, easy touch panel on here. Super easy maintenance on this machine, and this is really what allows an Epson printer to stand out from the other machines out there in the market, is the usability or the ease of use of this machine. Quick, easy, understandable icons on here written out in plain English that let you know exactly what you got to do with this machine to maintain it, get the best print performance out of it. Really simple and easy to use. And this is a feature that's found on almost every Epson printer. So folks that have used, an Epson desktop or a dye sublimation printer or their large solvent roll-to-roll machines, the functionality of it is all exactly the same. So if you can run one Epson printer, you can run any Epson printer. And that's really what this machine's done well, is given that ease of use to the end operator. You don't need to be a printer expert to be able to get effective, amazing print results out of there. So, but yeah, people always tune in because they want to see the machines print. So I feel like I'd be remiss if I didn't let this thing print right now.
Looks like we got a heartbeat going there, Neil.
Yeah, kind of a cool design we got worked up here. It's print your heart out is the design.
Very neat. And one thing I just want to point out, we did mention with those different platen sizes that are available, it is going to be important that if you are printing something very, very small, you do look at one of the smaller platens if you're doing the direct-to-garment, because we don't want the film or the shirt to actually stretch. We want it to lay flat. So
let me pop the hood here and we'll get into some things. It looks like my print is finished. So now at this point, to finish this direct-to-garment print, what I'm going to do is take it to my heat press, which will set that ink in place, ready to go. But let's go over some of the features inside here. I talked about the ease of maintenance on this machine. This Epson printer has an internal wiper unit that takes care of all of the automatic maintenance. This is the suction cap. When the printer's not printing, it sits back here on this capping station. So as far as maintenance for the end user, from time to time, you have to pull out your white ink cartridges and all your other ink cartridges, give them a quick little agitation. But they come with these really easy to change ink packs in here, no mess inside your shop. Like I said, this machine is positioned to be sitting on your desktop at home. There's not ink bags or waste ink fluids that you have to worry about spilling over. Everything is really nice and clean and contained. Really neat feature here for placement of my garment. There's a pull-out position. Would be easier if I didn't have the shirt on here. Pull-out positioning to get my neck tag centered on my print here, as well as positioning markers on either side that allow laying in the t-shirt be quite accurate and repeatable position results. You got something else you wanted to add, Mike? I'm sorry.
I just want to point out also, what Neil mentioned, the 28-inch depth, that is from the very front to the very back. So if you do have a desktop, I mean, I have a countertop, that's a standard like kitchen countertop, which is 27 inches deep. And mine sits on it with the little feet, works pretty well, just right up, printer goes right up flush against the back wall. So definitely something that does fit on your desk. Summarizing that particular printer, I mean, it's easy to use. Neil mentioned with the maintenance, with the shaking of the ink cartridge, there's no bottles that you need to pour from here to there. There's no waste ink bottles. There's that fabric wiper that takes care of a lot of that cleaning cycle part of it for you and maintains the printer. Kind of think of it as a lint roller for your print head. So instead of moving white ink from here to there, it just rolls it, gets it out of there. So very pristine, keeps that head ready to go pretty much all the time. Quality, Epson's always been known for our print quality, and this is no exception here. So amazing quality, especially when you start getting that film, it really holds that tight detail that's available. And once you do buy it, if you do have any hardware issues, this is an exchanged product. So if the product goes down for whatever reason, Epson will ship a replacement product and come out and swap it out for you.
Yeah, it's one of those things, if I said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. With an Epson product, the biggest value you get is everything inside this machine is an Epson product. The print heads were designed by Epson, the ink formula was designed by Epson, and when it comes to the direct-to-garment, direct-to-film printing, white is that necessary evil. In every printer, white is a tough ink chemistry to work with because it's crushed titanium dioxide, it's a heavy pigment that always wants to separate, coagulate, cause problems. Because we have an Epson printer with Epson printhead technology and an Epson designed ink, the recirculation system, the maintenance system, this is what gives you the most trouble-free, reliable, consistent, amazing print results from an Epson printer. Those off-market or off-brand DTG, DTF printers, that's where they always struggle is, hey, it prints great out of the box, but 6 months, a year, 2 years down the road, that's when you start having problems, and it's always due to the white ink and the white ink recirculation system. So, and that's where Epson really knocks it out of the park.
Yeah, two things I just want to add into that. One, we have a 2-year shelf life on our ink, including the white ink. So if it's something you're not going to burn through very quickly, you're concerned about, should I have one on the shelf? Yeah, get it on your shelf. It'll be good for a couple of years. The other thing I want to mention is that the software that we bundle is our Epson Garment Creator. It runs the printer, both film and the shirts. It's available for download, Mac or PC, your choice.
Yeah, awesome. Well, hey, Mike, would you mind killing your screen for just a second? That is the one thing too, I've said in previous webinars we've talked about with Epson products is that that Epson Garment Creator 2, free software to download. So if you have multiple users, you have this set up in an office setting where there's multiple people that have really cool ideas they want to print on a shirt, they can all have their own version of Garment Creator 2 downloaded on their desktop. Idea for a funny t-shirt comes in their head. They don't need to log into some separate system. So long as it's connected, you can connect to this machine through a USB port, an Ethernet connection, or you can even put it on a little thumb drive from your computer, walk it over, plug it inside the front of the machine, and then print your t-shirt idea. And that's really where this machine unleashes, is that ability to work in a creative space, multiple people. It's not in a print shop environment. You can have this in an office setting where people can, come in the morning with a blank t-shirt and walk out with the funniest saying they wanted on the t-shirt, or a picture of their dog. We get photorealistic print out of these direct-to-garment shirts, so really quite amazing. So Mike, I don't want to run out of time. Let's transition over to the next exciting printer from Epson. We have the Epson V1070. So we were just previously talking about the F1070. F stands for fabric. What does the V stand for? Victory?
UV.
UV print. Okay.
We're going to talk about the V1070. So here, before you're looking over at Neil's left shoulder, now we're going to look over his right shoulder. The machine it's about the same depth. It's just a little narrower machine. It has completely different ink technology, so it prints on different substrates. And those substrates, gosh, there's so many different things you can do. You can print onto some film transfers and wrap a bottle, as you see in the sample here. You can print on coasters. You can print on, so many different tchotchkes, different things. Dog tags, coasters, metal panels, wood, acrylic, plexi, a lot of different substrates that are available to print on with this printer. So just wonderful compliment to, for that shine shop getting into this industry. So here I kind of mentioned some of the different things. I'm not going to read everything to you unless you want me to, but I just for time, let's not do that. But
the big takeaway here, it's small. So there's a limit to this size of this printer. This is not Epson's first UV printer. I've had for several years now the V7000, which is a 4-foot by 8-foot flatbed printer that uses the same UV ink technology, UV printhead technology as well. Epson is releasing a smaller version of that. So yeah, the things you're limited to print is really just based on size. How thick can we print on this machine? It's about 2 inches thick.
The machine's
Little over
1 inch.
2 inches.
This is about 2.5.
Yep.
The other one is 1 inch.
Yep.
So very thick things. Golf balls. A lot of people do custom golf balls with these. You would need to have some sort of little jig to hold the balls so they don't roll off the platen. This one, the platen size is an A4 size, which roughly, well, it's a European letter size if you think of it that way. So many different media, some different substrates you can do. The way that UV ink works kind of as a generic statement is that the ink itself cures when it's flashed with UV light. That's why they call it a UV type of printer, is actually the exposing light that does this. So it prints and then it hits a light right away to gel, to harden that ink right onto your substrate. And what's also kind of neat about it, since the type of ink, there's a little bit of depth to it. So you can actually do things with depth. So if you wanted to have something where if you rub your hand over it, you could actually feel, a depth of print. You could print something, a little taller.
Mm-hmm. There's an application or a process. We talked about direct-to-garment, direct-to-film printing. I guess the real reason I wanted it so we could show the printer printing too. Again, folks love seeing printers print during demos, so I got to make it happen. What the audience wants, I provide. So, but the one thing I wanted to show, we were talking about depth and producing with depth. If we could spotlight the other screen again too. We talked about direct-to-garment, direct-to-film printing in the apparel side. This also works with the UV print. So imagine you're doing another odd-shaped object that it's hard to get a flat surface, flat printable surface. There's an option with UV print where you do a film transfer with UV print. And so this is something that I printed on. It's a 2-part film. It's an A and a B film specifically designed to allow you to create this sticker effect with UV print. So I couldn't get my Owala water bottle into the flatbed printer, but I was able to use my Epson UV printer to create this transfer on an AB film, and I was able to put multiple layers in there so it gives it that tactile raised look as well as varnish on top, which gives it a nice shine, great contrast to this matte black water bottle. I got that gloss black look on the print there as well. So again, just unlimited potential, different ways of approaching it. Obviously, 8.5 by 11 is not the largest. You want to do a larger piece, you have that option of doing a nice AB film transfer with the UV print as well.
I have pretty much just one slide left, but I'm just going to talk to the point. Is Epson does offer multiple different videos that are available on YouTube as far as how-to videos. How do I clean the printer? How do I maintain the printer? How do I set it up to do golf balls? A lot of different videos that are available. And I'm talking about the V series, but the same thing with the F series, is we also have some videos on that, how to do certain things, and how do I pre-treat a shirt, how do I print a film, things like that. So a lot of videos out there. We're coming out with more and more as time goes on. Please, if you have questions, please reach out to your Grimco sales rep, and I'm sure they can help you out. And if they need Neil's help, Neil is more than willing to help. I know Neil he's amazing, and if he needs my backup, I'm here for him. So.
Nice. Awesome, Mike. Well, and let's do a quick one. As soon as this is done printing, I want to do a quick overview of this printer as well, kind of pop the hood and take a look inside. That's the benefit of hooking up a small camera for this webinar. What it's doing right now, the printer's done. The printer has finished printing. This machine has something different than you don't find over on the F1070. The V1070 has 2 internal charcoal filters. So UV ink has a little bit of odor to it just by its nature. The ink that we use on the F1070 is an aqueous water-based ink formula. What allows this ink to cure through the exposure of UV light. It has a little bit of smell after it's done printing. What's cool, what's happening right now is the machine is ventilating through those charcoal filters. So even standing this close to the printer, I don't smell anything coming off of this printer. Again, set up perfectly to have in a home office, a work office, an environment where people are, doing other things near it other than printing. You're not getting the smell of the UV ink around here whatsoever. So we got about 5 seconds left on the ventilation, and then I can pop the hood here and take a look down inside. There we go. So again, just like we have on the F1070, we have that internal wiper unit that gives us that reliability. I printed on a white substrate, but this printer also has white ink on it that allows it to print onto darker substrates or clear medias. I can switch my layering method to be able to print color first, white second, a second surface application like a trophy or an acrylic glass picture. Here are the charcoal filters inside here. This platen, the part that the media sits on, raises and lowers for the thickness of your material. Again, like we said, it's about a 2.2 inch height. This bar here in the back is what's going to figure out automatically how tall my material is. So it automatically figures out the depth. You can always set it to a manual setting. So if your object wasn't held down, like my sign blank is held down really nicely here through the vacuum, I can turn on and off the vacuum right here. And now I can pick my sign blank up. But if your object wasn't held in place through the vacuum settings, you set your height automatically or manually, and then the print head carriage will adjust the platen height and allow you to print. Amazing print on there.
I don't know if you'd mentioned it or not, but it is a CMYK white and varnish.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot about the varnish.
So if you do want that, so UV ink has a certain, I'll call it flat appearance to it. It's like a semi-matte finish, if you would think of that, versus a gloss finish. That's the ink on its own. But if you do want it to give it that sheen, there is a varnish ink that will spray on top of your image and give it a level of shininess. And that's something that you can also control in the software. How much varnish you want on, the more you put on, the shinier it gets.
Right. And we had mentioned that the F1070 comes with Garment Creator 2 software. This machine is driven by Epson EdgePrint software, and the Epson EdgePrint software is a little more robust. It allows you to do the layering methods, your white layer, your varnish layers, really stack your layers the different ways you'd want to have it done. So, super easy software to interface and use. Multiple copies aren't available, or they'd be available for purchase, right? So if you had multiple users,
we're shipping it with the printer.
Okay,
So
but you only get one license essentially, right?
Correct. Now, one license can drive up to 4 different printers.
Okay.
So if you did buy 4 printers, you'd have to have 1 computer to run 4 printers.
Gotcha. So,
but yeah,
and that ability to take a file, plug it in the front nose of the printer is not available over here. So if I had multiple pieces, I'm working for my software the entire time.
Right.
Hey, Neil, we did get a question that came through, and I'm hoping you and Mike might be able to give our audience an answer on that.
Fire away.
What print head is used in the UV printer, and how does it compare to the Epson i3200 print head?
Neil, you want to? No, I'll cover this one.
That is definitely a Mike question.
All right. So it's actually fairly similar to the i3200 print head. And we get these questions a lot on some of our different printers because we do sell some of our print heads to other companies. The print head, if you look at it cosmetically, is very similar to the i3200 head. But one thing that we do that is completely different is we put in our nozzle verification technology. Essentially, it monitors the print head, and if there's any nozzles that are missing, it'll automatically substitute other nozzles, or it'll warn you that you have exceeded a threshold, which you set. I'm willing to accept 5 nozzles missing, and at 5 nozzles missing, let me know. So that way, if your machine's not running fine, it's not up to optimal, perfect print, it'll warn you. But even before that, it's going to try to covering. So in one pass, if it doesn't fire a cyan droplet, the next pass will double hit cyan in its place and fill the hole. So your quality is going to be consistent a lot more with that functionality. Someone kind of mentioned it to me, and I thought it was a great analogy. It's kind of like if Chevrolet would sell you an 8-cylinder engine block. Do they turbocharge it? Do they fuel inject it? What do they put into that engine is up to them. We put in our nozzle verification technology. We put in our screening. Those are both things that they're not getting with the i3200 head.
Gotcha. And I said it earlier, it's definitely worth repeating. That's the difference with the Epson machines, is vertically integrated. Everything inside this machine was designed, engineered, and built by Epson, and that's where you really get that amazing performance. Cool technologies that they're always adding into their print head technologies. It's constantly evolving, and it's always evolving with the ink chemistry at the same time, which gives us just the best performance, reliability. I can let this printer sit for a pretty decent long time, not having to worry about the maintenance, and then fire it up, cleans itself, rock and roll, and I'm printing. You want to be able to make stuff. You don't want to have to maintain stuff, and that's what the Epson printers allow us to do. So, awesome. Hey, Mike, there was another question that came through about pricing of the machines. So all of the pricings for the machines are available at grimco.com. I'm not going to throw out prices live on camera. It just never ends well for me. So head over to grimco.com and you can get logged in there and see it.
We do have a few more questions that were asked. So
oh, yeah. Fire away. Great. Can you print ADA signage? Thank you so much for asking that question. Again, I'm going to let Mike answer this one.
So it's This is kind of a gray area. It is, the printer can print three-dimensional. It can print at different heights. When it comes down to ADA compliance, it comes down to meeting the standards that ADA creates. So it has to be a certain distance apart between, dots, if you will, certain height, so things like that. So can it print that capability? Yes, it can. Does it meet the ADA specifications? That depends on the person designing the file.
Right. Yeah. So it has been going through some rigorous testing. The testing results are looking good. It's a lot of it comes down to certification too, from what I've understood. And so Epson is going down that process to get certification. So can I tell you, yes, buy this printer because it prints ADA signage today? Absolutely not. Will it eventually? I hope so. But we don't know. We don't know until. What was that, Mike?
We'll get there.
All right, there we go. You heard it here. That's the way to go. Yeah. Awesome.
And there was one last question. It says, how long is the UV print head rated to last until it needs to be replaced?
Gosh, excuse me. Difficult question to answer because it really kind of depends on, more than anything else, your environment and how you maintain the printer. I mean, the printer itself is designed to last the life of the print head. And it is, I guess I'll probably rephrase it this way, probably more. This is a machine, both of these machines are designed to kind of be more desktop units, lower volume units. It is not supposed to be something where neither of these machines has the duty cycles to be running, 10, 12 hours every day around the clock. Now, out of all of that, the print head, in my opinion, is probably the part that can last the longest because it's the same print head we use in some of our other printers. So I know it's a durable print head, but you're probably going to run into other things before that, carriage motors, vacuums. Just because the size and the price point of this device, it's not going to have that, 10 years of production and 10 hours a day. It's going to wear out before that.
Yeah. And Mike, and this is worth pointing out here, the machines come with warranties out of the box. You can extend the warranties on both of these machines. It's similar warranty extension process.
Yeah, you can go up to 5 years on either one of them.
And that print head is included in that warranty.
Yes.
So I don't care what it's rated for. If you get the extended warranty, your print head's going to last 5 years. So, and that's always the biggest concern. And this is why Epson can offer that ridiculously bumper to bumper extension of warranties, because they know their print head technology is going to work. So you don't need to be, and I get it, UV technology has been out there a while. People have gotten burned on some machines that didn't perform as expected, and that's not what we see with Epson products. So, I mean, speaking personally about the V7000, which has now been on the market 3.5 years, going on 4 years, correct? Yeah, we've had amazing feedback from customers using that machine for the reliability, consistency, obviously the performance they're getting out of the machine. So. Yeah, and I fully expect the same out of this.
It's not the same ink set because that one has, it's a 10 color printer, but we're talking the same cyan, magenta, yellow, black, white, and varnish, the same chemical as we're using on the other one, just not using the, the light colors and the red that's in the other one.
Yeah, awesome.
One more, how well do the UV prints hold up in an outdoor usage? People are loving this UV printer.
We might have been able to make this an hour-long webinar. I don't know why we sold ourselves short with a half hour trying to squeeze in 2 printers.
We'll make it short.
So outdoor durability, typically with UV print, you're getting really long outdoor durability on these. And I guess I want to cover the durability of the F series too. You're doing a direct-to-garment print. What's the expected wash cycle of a direct-to-garment?
Well, our direct-to-garment ink has rated as durable as any type of plastisol screen printed shirt. So it's
same as any other method of decorated apparel.
If the ink is sticking to the shirt, you're going to have more shirt in the dryer than in the lint trap than anything else. So if you're losing ink, it's because it's going in your lint trap with the rest of the cotton.
Right.
We're not letting go of the cotton.
So the durability of direct printed signage on the UV printer?
It kind of varies kind of depending on the subsurface itself, because some surfaces are harder than others. They bind better, if you will. So that is a little bit more of a game. But I mean, we've seen numbers, 2-3 years outside, a lot of stuff. Again, depends on where you are, what your substrate is. So there's not a real guarantee this always lasts this long, because there's always exceptions to the rule.
Yeah. And the one thing I will say about the Epson V, the UV ink used in here, the V7000, as well as this machine, this is not your grandfather's UV ink. This version or generation of UV ink that Epson is using in their machines now The dine level, the adhesion, the sticking to different substrates, it works better than most other UV printers I've ever seen on the market, because this is a new ink technology. This is not just, and not to throw shade on any other printer manufacturers, but what happens a lot is they're using a generically formulated UV ink, generic print head, putting it inside a carcass of a machine. That's not what you're getting with Epson print heads or Epson machines. Print heads and ink were designed to work together. This is a newly formulated UV print. But let's make it easy, Mike. Would you say you're going to get 1 year, 2 year, or 3 year outdoor durability with print? Broadly speaking, not warranted, more of an expected life than a warranty.
I would say probably closer to the 3.
Yeah, exactly. And again, all the fine print of it depends on the substrate. It depends on, is it west facing? Is it south facing? I mean, there's a whole bunch of little things that go into there. But yeah, UV print is very durable and very versatile ink formula. So Mike, I want to thank you so much for joining me. This has been an awesome presentation.
This is wonderful. So thank you very much.
Yeah, no, incredible. Anytime we get to stand in front of customers and talk about Epson printers, it's always a good day. So if you want some more information, head over to grimco.com. We have all the resources available there, or you can reach out to your sales rep and we'll get you going with the next Epson printer. Thanks for watching.